Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and Happy New Year. This is the first CyberCast IRL of 2025. Can you believe it? We've made it. I'm sure nothing crazy will happen this year. Too late. There's all sorts of crazy stuff happening. Good morning to my chat room. You are my lifeblood. I'm so glad you're here. We have things to talk about today. I'm sure you have things you want to talk about as well. As always, let me fire this off with, if you have a question for me, please make sure that you at my name so that it shows up in red in the chat room. I've got the chat right around that area. So if you have a question and you use at and then put my name in it, it should make it easier for me to see that question. Wayne's Real World is always on the case, making sure that if I miss something, that he can also try to gather those questions. So if you didn't hear this, that's cool. Wayne's checking the chat, keeping an eye on things. We got to start things off right. As you know, today's thoughts and opinions are fueled by none other than Ultra Sunrise. It's orange. It's tasty. It makes me feel good inside. Oh, yes. The morning pour. I'm using my Yoda cup today, so I'm not going to get it all in here. I couldn't find the lid for my camo cup. I say Yoda. It's Grogu. My Grogu cup. I don't think I'm going to get all in. I'm going to have some extra, which scares the life out of me. All this electronics in here, and then you have an open can with stuff in it. That's a recipe for disaster right there. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm seeing a bunch of hey, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year to everyone that has showed up today. Please feel free to make sure that you let me know if I'm having any trouble with audio or video, as we know that tends to happen. But I got to get that first tug. Here we go. Oh, it's the nectar of the gods right there. And you see, I can close that lid. I want to put that away where I don't kick it. It's away from everything because I will smack that thing. It won't be the first time. Roswell UK says, what's the guitar back there? Well, there's two of them. So, and they're both Sterling by Music Man. The one on the silver one that you can see right here by my hand, that one is I always want to say it's a Valentine. It's not a Valentine. It's a, oh, goodness gracious. It's escaping me right now. But I love it. It's good. That's a recent purchase. The other one is a JP 150, which is a John Petrucci model, which I put in a couple of custom Seymour Duncan pickups into. I also had the volume knob. I put a push-pull pot in it to split the coils on those. Let's get Freebird real quick. Yeah, that's like an 8.5-minute song, so there is no Freebird real quick. And I am not even close to warmed up. It's a little chilly in the CyberCast studio today. Man, that stuff is good. Let's see here. Let me make sure. White is better. Luke J. White is good. That's what got me hooked on monsters, was the white monster. Oh, let's see here. Somebody's got a question. The Real Bilbo says, what is your take on the new Dion training? Accolade, I think it is called. I don't know. I haven't seen it. You know, miss you too, Deb. Ah, Deb Wigley's in the chat. Look who's here. It's my coworker and friend, the one and only. It's Deb Wigley. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad to give you something to do before we go back to work, because we are on countdown to vacation extinction. It's going by very, very soon. We're going to be back to the grind. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff to do. We're going to be in ShmooCon on the 10th. So that is very soon. And that's going to be fun. Look who else is here. Gerald Dozier, my man. All right. Okay. All right. Jerry Ozier showing up in the chat. Hardware hacked is electric. You know, I got to do that. That's actually a really versatile guitar. I built that guitar to be very versatile. Yeah, I am. Yeah. So if I want like a grab and go, everything, I've got a whole rig that is for like, if someone said, hey, come over and play guitar with us, I could easily grab one guitar, grab one amp, and go. And it would work in just about any situation. So, and then I have the rig that I normally would use that if I were a permanent fixture there, there's other things in the room here that would be a part of that. But if someone was just like, hey, come over and jam. We're having a party. We're doing blah, blah, blah. We got, some people over here. It's going to be fun. So, yes, I absolutely hardware hacked that guitar. I have hardware hacked most of my guitars. You get them and you're like, oh, this is really good and I love it. But there's this one thing, right? I mean, if it was a little this or did a little bit of that or this had that. So, it's the tweaker in me, the brain that says, play with things, Daniel. Take it apart and see how it works. Luke J says, I should taste the Ultra Fantasy Ruby Red. Guess what? Too late. It has been done. Ha, ha, ha. And it is delish. They don't do much wrong over at Monster. But only with the zero sugar. I don't tend to really like the ones that actually have sugar in them. I like the zero sugar ones. I don't know why. Wayne's Real World says, good stuff at Jason Dion. You're absolutely right. I don't know Jason Dion personally. I haven't ever talked to him or anything like that. But I have heard nothing but good things about his training. So that's awesome. Look who's in the chat room. It's the one and only Ronnie Wong. Ronnie Wong, what you doing here today, Ronnie Wong? So glad to see you, brother. I watched your interview with Dakota on the Bearded IT Dad. Good job. 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert, give it. I was glad to see you getting some FaceTime. I see you grew like a beard chin strap. Hey, is that Josh Mason in chat room? I think I see Josh Mason. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's Josh. There he is. Oh, man. I got a good crew today. I always get a good crew, man. Chat room rocks. Everybody here in the chat is super awesome. Oh, let's see here. And thank you, Team SC, Simply Cyber, for always raiding me right after Jerry gets done with jaw jacking. I'm glad to give you another thing to do that is cyber related. And with that being the case, we're a couple minutes in. We've had a good question already about Jason Dion, so definitely check out Jason's stuff. Let you know I'm going to be in ShmooCon. The Anti-Siphon crew going to be holding it down. What's up? It's going to be fun. Let's get to... There's a big news story kind of drop. I mean, it was everywhere. Let me put it that way. I don't know how... It seems like it's going to be a problem, or that it is a problem. There's POC. It's going to be fun. Let's go to the satellite map, shall we? As I'm going through my feed yesterday, the hacker news, you see things that pop up in the multiple different spots. I just always typically go to the Hacker News first because it has a lot. They're very good at things. I like them, and I like GB Hackers. It's a really good 1-2 punch for. And then another one is Bleeping Computer, always a good one. Ars Technica can be pretty good as well. But you might see this bad boy right here is probably coming across your feed a bit. LDAPNightmare, POC, exploit crashes LSAS and reboots Windows domain controllers. This could be a problem. Jerry, you probably talked about this morning. I didn't catch it. I was too busy trying to get things going. My studio was a nightmare today. I was doing a bunch of stuff. I've been playing around with. I've been trying to find some weakness in this thing. I got a bus pirate connected to it because why not do something different? I'm actually thinking about doing a video on how to just connect with your bus pirate. Something simple, something easy, not too deep in the weeds. I try to throw a wider net for some people that might not know some of the ins and outs of things like that. So I'm thinking about doing a video, and then hopefully I'll probably film that today, and then I'll release it tomorrow. Yes, the chat room. I'm such a squirrel. I saw something. No, don't do that. Let me finish my thought here. So yeah, I think that'll be fun. Someone's asked me a couple times about, do I have any New Year's resolutions. One of my resolutions, I think, is going to be, as well as doing CyberCast IRL every Friday, I want to do at least one video that's like recorded video, not a live stream or anything like that, but go back to doing some recorded stuff for my own channel once a month. Just once a month. That gives me 12 new videos and hopefully have some really cool, fun demos and stuff like that. Demos can be difficult to play with, but yeah. All right, I'm definitely seeing my name in the chat room, so let me see what's going on here. Wayne's Real World says he's talked with Jason, helped him write questions for the class. That's awesome. Let's see. Okay. Josh says, what are you doing this year? Big picture. Big picture is going to be for me, and then we'll get back to this LDAPNightmare because I really just kept seeing the headlines. I haven't really looked at it yet because I was like, oh, this will be fun to explore because I got CyberCast IRL tomorrow. So we're going to look at that in just a second. Big picture is going to be for me, try to get some training cranked out for anti-siphon. I got a couple of cons I'm going to be going to this year. Obviously, I mean, I'm already starting off for ShmooCon next week or this week. I think not this week. Yeah, next week. It's next Friday. Wild West Hackin' Fest Mile High in Denver in February. We got Wild West Hackin' Fest in Deadwood in October. Probably going to go to a few others in there. Got some B-sides in Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete. Going to be hitting all those. So lots of cons and CyberCast IRL. Trying to do stuff once a month for a demonstration-wise, filming, putting it in. That ought to be fun. Jerry also asking me what are some of my personal goals. I've already started working out. You guys know that. We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. If you're new to the channel, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. And while, yes, this is not healthy for you, it is the one thing a week that I can have that is a little treat for myself, and I have it with you. Which is down from like, one or two a day. So bringing stuff down, trying to eat a little more healthy, drinking more water, exercising. I've already started working out, like I said. I want to get back into fitness, man. My shoulder has been a real problem because I have a lot of issues with my shoulder. Anybody that has physical ailments knows, man, you want to do stuff, but that pain just makes you not want to do stuff. Like you have this weird conflict inside of you. You're like, man, I wish I could work out again, but it hurts so bad. So I'll just eat this bag of Doritos. And that's how things go. So I'm just trying to work around it as much as possible. PT the shoulder so I can kind of get it back into usable condition. So that's my personal goals. And plus, when it comes to IT, cybersecurity, you know me, I never quit this. I'm always learning something new, playing around. So yeah, continue that. Look at other training, create training for anti-siphon, do some cool stuff with them. So yeah, that's what's up. All right, let's see here. Wayne's Real World says, wow, everyone wants to know what you are setting forth for next year. Yeah. Thanks for Wayne. Keep an eye on the chat for me, sir, and I appreciate that help so much. Let's see here. Sean Sailors says it's a POC. Okay, yes, this takes us back to, let's go back to here. This brings us back to this conversation. LDAPNightmare, POC. It's POC for a patch issue. I'm sure that depends on people actually patching things, but it's worth mentioning. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Sean, for bringing that in. Let's dive into this a little bit. Let's see what the Hacker News has to say. I'm going to do a little bit of this. That way it's a little easier readable. And we'll scroll down. Let's see what's going on here. So POC, proof of concept, has been released for a now patched, and there it is right in the first line. Awesome. Security flaw impacting Windows lightweight directory access protocol, LDAP, that could trigger a denial of service condition. That seems like a problem. Yeah, hard for people to log in when the domain controller keeps going down. You can't access stuff when that stuff keeps going down. It's not useful. The out of bounds reads Yes, it does say out of bounds reads. That's a weird thing to say. Vulnerability is tracked at CVE 2024. Does that take you to? Well, this is their update. Has a CVSS score 7.5 is addressed by Microsoft as part of Patch Tuesday updates for December 2024 alongside CVE 2024-49112, which has a CVSS score of 9.8. And for those of you that know, CVSS scores, you have the low, you got like informational, then you got low, medium, high, and our critical, is it MITRE? You know what? I cannot remember these. These are the kind of things that like cheat sheets are always good for. MITRE, CVSS. Let's go take a look at that so anybody can see this. And this is a great thing about Google, right? You can look things up. CVSS. Oh, that was CVE. Duh. Daniel, CVSS. Where is it? It's like they got a weird name for it. Score. They got a weird name for the website that it takes you to. It's like first dot something. Somebody hit me up with that. What is the name of that? Why is CVSS not taking me here? CVSS score. Let's do that. Between 0 and 10. Yeah. Thank you, GPT. Isn't it called like... There it is. First.org. Bada bing. This is what you want to know if you're looking up CVSS stuff. And then you can go to like the recent documents. And of course, there's a few different versions that are out there. So CVSS for calculators, specification, user guide, examples. Let's hit this. It's been a minute since I've been here. The calculator is cool. You can kind of like see all this weird stuff. This all attack vector is network, attack complexity low, attack type is, or no, what is T? Does it tell us? Doesn't. Not here anyway. I'm scrolling and it's doing nothing. That's kind of fun. Hopefully everything's looking good. Yeah, websites are dumb, aren't they? But you have all this like, you'll notice that this is the full CVSS. I don't want the calculator though. Let's go to the specification documentation. I'm going to go back because that is messing me up. Let's go to user guide. And it'll show you like how to use this. Introduction, nomenclature. And in here is most likely like a little bit of a fun thing. Oh, user interaction, right? So that is basically UI. So if you see UI, that's user interaction. Does it require anything at all? So if it's in, it says none. No. The vulnerable system can be exploited without user interaction from any human user other than the attacker, right? They don't need your help is what it says. Then there's passive, right? And then, so learning this is a really good idea, at least getting familiar with it. And then I'm sure they're going to have down in here somewhere it goes from like, man, I'm not good at memorization of that kind of stuff. It's been a while since I've taken an exam on it. So I want to see the little chart, the diagram that tells you the individual. I'm really surprised that it's not higher on the page. It'll tell you like one goes from here to there to everywhere. It's fun. Seriously? Okay, that is weird. I'm sure I'm just missing it because... Well, there's that. Because it was off the page. Almost guaranteedly. Right? Is that what's happening here? Where's the chart? Dude. Site. Come on, man. You would think in the user guide it would tell you, but it's probably going to be in documentation somewhere. Okay. Oh, was that it? No. These are just the base metrics. All right, let's go over here to specification document. Let's see if that does it. No, that's the metrics. I think we're getting close though. Telling us like low, medium, high, what lands where, like what type of score lands you at those different ones. And then is there a critical? I think it's just low, medium, high, and informational. Oh, Glenn is asking me, what is my 2025 con list looking like? So far, boy, everybody's asking that question, huh? So far, ShmooCon next week. February, we're going to be in Denver for Mile High Hackin' Fest. Did I pass it? Oh, that's confidentiality. So they all have their own like low, medium, high, but then there's the overall. And it should tell you. This is really funny to me. Found it. Man, they buried that thing in there, didn't they? Holy Moses, that thing was buried. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Seriously? Woo. My goodness, it was like digging for gold to find this stupid little chart. You would think that this chart will be at the top of the stinking page. All right, so you got none with a score of 0. I'm so glad we found this. Low, 0.1 to 3.9. By the way, if you're taking an exam, this is something they want you to memorize. And because it's stupid, like 0.1 to 3.9, I don't remember it. I would have to like bury that into my head if you were taking an exam. Because I'm bad at exams. I'm straight up, right? Let's see here. So low, 0.1 to 3.9. Medium, 4.0 to 6.9. High, yeah, there it is 9.0 to 8.9. There is a critical 9.0 to 10. Whew. It's early in the year, kids. Gotta give Dad a break. All right? Maybe I just need more of this. Just, there we go. Excellent. On the dot, you're on number 6. Super fun that we found that. Thank you, Casually Joseph. And good morning, sir. Good to see you here. We'll check and see if I missed anything. No, good. You guys are we're having fun. We're paying attention. Gotta bounce. Sorry, Deb. See you later. You too. Let's see here. Anything cool going on? All right, then. Back to it. I want to code the first 0.1 rated exploit. That is hysterical. The pain says, I want to code the first 0.1 rated exploit. That would be so funny. Like, to make it fall in, like, you would have to do some serious work to make it that specific thing. But there you go. You should definitely check out this chart. This chart, let me get you back to it. This chart tells you. So if we go back to LDAPNightmare, and we see a 9.8, right? A critical integer overflow flaw, the same component that could result in remote code execution. So this is patched. Thank goodness. At least that's what they're saying. But if you are not patched, you're leaving yourself open to that oh so sweet RCE, also known as remote code execution. Quick question to the chat room. I just want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. When it comes to the letters RCE, there is remote code execution, but there is also remote command executions. Are they interchangeable? I mean, I know they're different things. Like, one thing is executing remote code. The other is executing a command. It just seems like a semantic thing, though, because typically the way you get command execute, or at least from my experience, a lot of the time, generally, getting command execution is through code. So you're like, it's going through like an eval statement or something, or os.system, something, popen or whatever the case is. Under the hood, the code is reading that in, and the code is executing, and you're just giving it the command. So, I mean, do they fall under the same kind of thing because they're so closely related, or are they different? Sean Saylor says, I'd say they're interchangeable, not like Tool versus Trojan. Jerry Ozier. What does Jerry say? Jerry said something? Let me see. I didn't see his name pop up. Justin Gold. I used to wrestle with this. I've already accepted I won't ever get back to that. Okay, we're talking about being in shape. As you should. Get in shape, everyone. Have a great day. Ronnie Wong. Is Ronnie out of here? You taking off? Have to finish some contract work. Have the greatest day, everyone. You too, Ronnie. Thanks for dropping by, brother. It's always good to see you. Let's see here. I think it's more of a making Linux run Who Am I remotely versus making run Linux in Python. Yeah, I think you're right. Casually, I think I agree with you. It's just an interesting thing. I would say, because I don't give a shma, right? If you said RCE and you meant remote code execution, yeah, I get you. Like, I understand that. If you said RCE and you meant remote command execution or code execution, I don't really care. To me, it's very semantic, kind of like you said. We're splitting hairs at this point. But yeah, I get there is a difference. But generally and colloquially, I think we kind of get to we interchangeably use that. So, I don't know, just a random thought for today, right? What are those intrusive thoughts? Intrusive thoughts. Josh chiming in. Remote command will be something that evaluates to like cat, Etsy shadow, right? Whereas remote code is like getting Python to do something for you through the input field. Exactly. That is the difference. And thank you. Yes, he says definitely splitting hairs. But yeah, that's an interesting thing, right? It's just life. On an exam, they probably want you to have that very specific understanding between the difference of the two. So I'm glad we had this conversation. As anybody that was thinking about it, you might not have been on the up and up on that. But there we go. All right, let's see what else we got with this lovely POC today. And so we've got an out-of-bounds vulnerability, and we've got this critical integer overflow flaw. Credited with discovering both and reporting both vulnerabilities is independent research, security research. I cannot read today. Yuki Chen. Cool. The CVE POC was devised by SafeBreach. I bet that's going to take us to a POC. So let's open that and see what that is. Just kind of get some looking at it because you never know. It could be fun. High-level text summary. I do love that. Okay, so here's the attack flow. The attacker sends a DCE RPC request to the victim's server machine. The victim is triggered to send a DNS SRV query about whatever. This could be anything, but they're using their labs, obviously. SafeBreachLabs.pro. The attacker DNS for server responds with the attacker's hostname machine and LDAP port. Interesting. The victim sends a broadcast NBNS request to find the IP address of the received hostname of the attackers. The attacker sends the NBNS response with its IP address. The victim becomes an LDAP client and sends a CLDAP request to the attacker's machine. The attacker sends a CLDAP referral response packet with a specific value. I don't know if I can see this. Let me make it a little bit more readable. Resulting in LSAS to crash and force a reboot of the system. That sounds like a fun little chain of events that occurs there that someone discovered. You know, I think that I'm so... the change in weather. We did a bonfire last night, and I think I got a little smoke in me. So that was fun. Oh, thank you, Sean, for letting me know that was an inside joke. Because I was completely confused. I was like, what is Jerry saying? I don't see him at all. But we are having fun. So, anyway, where's my mind going before my phlegm issue bothered me? Was, denial of service attacks. Man, they can really be a pain, right? I think that things like remote code execution, it's really sizzly. It's really flashy. It's spicy. That's a spicy meatball, right? But denial of service, man, that's a real pain in the backside. Because if you've ever experienced a denial of service attack against you, you're like, why is all my stuff down? Why can't anybody access the resources? Oh no, it's denial of service time. And a lot of times, a lot of attackers will use them as kind of like a distraction for the actual attack. You know, we just went through a couple of holidays. I bet a bunch of attacks where we're going out the door on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, when people are, they're not looking to be at work and doing work stuff. They're looking to be, having fun, vacationing, not working. Attackers know this, and they like to take advantage of that kind of thing. So you really have to be more on guard when you're supposed to be relaxing, which is an unfortunate inverse that the cybersecurity professional, IT professional must be aware of. It's just kind of part of the job. So there we go. Let's see here. So this is interesting. Patch your servers, as you should. That's what you do. And that's kind of fun. We got to play with CVSS and look through their massive documentation. First.org, thank you so much for hiding all that. Again, there are multiple versions of CVSS, so be aware of that. And there are slight differences between each, which is why the versioning. Be aware of that. All right, cool. That was a fun one. Patch your systems. There is a patch available. Hopefully you're doing that. Don't be that guy or girl that's like, I'll be fine. We'll get to it. Yeah, that's not how it works. Sean says, I work in manufacturing. We aren't patching anything here. Yeah. You know, that's an interesting conversation to have, though, because there are systems that you literally can't patch. There either is no patch or patching breaks everything. So you can't update the operating system. You can't add security patches to what the embedded systems that are running these things. Dan, hate to see you go, brother, but thanks for joining us today. Haircut Fish, head out. Keep it. Thank you so much. And you too, as well. Three-pronged attack. Okay. I think I'm missing something in the chat room, but I got to stop trying to jump in and out of the chat room. It's so bad for my health and my conversational flow. But going back to these things, so we have these systems you can't really do nothing with to them. So what do? What are the security things that you can do to keep them secure? Because if an attacker does get their hands on them, they're probably wide open with multiple exploits. That's where you have like secondary security controls. So we do a lot of firewalling, right? We access control between these devices. You say, only from here can you access that. Can you do this? Can you do that? You segment what those things can access back outwards on the other way, going the opposite direction. So it's just a lot of work on that end to use secondary controls to do what you can for those systems, because they might be running critical things. They might, it's a real conundrum. I wish that security, on one hand, was an easier thing to do. I mean, we'd all be out of a passion and employment, but at least the world would be more secure. And we've seen a lot of cyber warfare within the last couple of years. So, crazy town. Let's see here. That's a good question. So Paris Gatsby says, the Biden admin DOJ stated you can't sell U.S. personal data at bulk, which I'm a fan of that. How would one regulate this or even catch it? That's a great question. What happens if you get caught? Sanctions. It's usually like, I doubt anyone would ever go to prison, right? It's going to be fines, sanctions by the government. They would use that probably to create new legislation, that kind of stuff. Audits would most likely be how they get caught. Breaches could reveal that they've been selling that information. If that, you know what I mean? It's possible that goes that way. Yeah. It's a huge nothing. Probably. That's what LSEC says. It's a huge nothing. I just like that they're, taking steps. I'm not here to say I like the Biden or Trump administration one way or the other. I'm just saying that, like, I think that idea that, that we're selling so much data. We conducted 157,000 individual sales. Right. They'll get around it. So it's probably like a waste of time, right? And now, the more we think about it, right, this is what we're doing. This is what CyberCast IRL is. In real life, you are literally hearing my thought process as I hear it from you, and you start to roll it around upstairs and go, yeah, and then you get the chat coming in. Well, what about this and what about that? Right. This is why we do this. This is why you come together and you have open dialogue, open forum. Every idea is on the table for us to run through. It's a good thing. Jerry said something something along the lines of you can sell it to a good nation who then sells it to, yeah, it's kind of like the idea of like Five Eyes spying, right? Where we can't spy on our own people because that's against the law. But if Great Britain or France or whatever spies on us and then whoops, I left that out where anybody could find it, they technically didn't spy on you, right? And then if we return the favor, you have all these things going on. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it's more of a political, like, ooh, see, we're doing things, but they're really not. I would have to read that. This is all hot take stuff. And I am a big proponent of, if you really want to know what's going on, what they're saying, please go read the documents. That is going to take you some time, but at least you'll know exactly what it is that they're saying. Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard the news or whatever, some outlet, spicy up, op-ed what's going on and give buzzwords and names to things that don't really fit what actually is going on inside of the bill, the legislation, the whatever, right? So definitely go read it. And that way we can make a much more informed decision on whether or not that was really a nothing burger, because it does seem like it on the surface. Like, did I just tell you to RTFM? I think I kind of did, didn't I? I did, for real. That's funny. But not at the expense of, it wasn't well, what you should do is, I know everything about it. And if you want that knowledge, you must walk over the same coals that I did. That's when telling people RTFM is a bad thing. But RTFMing is a very productive pastime. Let me tell you what. Prime example. I asked Tim Medine, CEO and founder of Red Siege. I'm name dropping. I'm a guitar player. I watch this YouTube channel called That Pedal Show. And they used to have this big horn. I think they still do. And anytime they name dropped, they would honk the horn, like honk honk. Name dropping. Yeah, he invented Kerber roasting. He discovered how to do Kerber roasting, and they didn't call it Kerber roasting at then. It's just this attack against Kerberos. And I asked him. I said, "How did you figure that out? Like, what would explain the story to me behind that?" He said he was learning Kerberos, right? As you do, as like a systems administrator, someone who is, and then he was, of course, security minded. So he's like, yeah, let me kind of dive into a little more on how Kerberos works. And he was RTFMing, and then he was having a conversation. He was like, I was reading the documentation on Kerberos, and it looks like you could be able to do this. And he was at a con, and they, asked some people that were above him in knowledge in that area and had a lot of experience. And they were like, that's a really good question. And they had this big conversation, open forum, right? Just like, hey, let's roll this around. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on this. Could maybe you have some insight on this? And then that led him to, they were like, well, yeah, you should totally read this. And he said, I was reading the docs and I saw this says it does this. And I tried it and it worked. And bada bing, Kerber roasting was born, right? So RTFMing is a great pastime for the security-minded person, because you're probably going to see in there a lot of exploits and security vulnerabilities come from reading that doc and go, did they really make it do it this way? Does it really do that? Is that couldn't, no, they didn't do that. Did they? Oh yeah, they did. They absolutely did. Look at that. That works. Holy crap. Like, I'm not the first person to see this. And you go out and you look and you're like, I absolutely am the first person to see it. Right? And then you go get yourself a CV or whatever. Let's see here. Space Tacos. What's up, Space Tacos? Dear Daniel, can you please do an entire episode in your best posh, stuffy professor voice, please? That was hilarious. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Like I'm David Attenborough. Right? Good morning, Wes Bryan. Look who's in the chat. One Wesley Bryan. Friend of mine, friend of the show. Colleague, fellow worker. Yes. That's about as good as it gets, right? FedEx says RTFM, question mark, question mark. It is read the flippin' manual. We'll keep it kid-friendly here because one day there might be children that want to watch this and learn from it. And I would hate to be that person that introduced them to things before their time. Before their time. Space Tacos, that's a great idea. So yeah, RTFM is read the manual. So reading the manual, yeah, you're very welcome, Wes, for your posh intro. Is what you're doing. And what's funny is there's like some good stuff. Where did I hide those? There's fun little things like cheat sheets. There's a blue team, right? The RTFM. Isn't that what it's called? Hold on. Yeah, the red team. That's what they're calling it. RTFM, Red Team Field Manual. That's it. It's like I knew that was coming together. So yeah, there is a Red Team Field Manual also. That could also be RTFM. So, but RTFM historically has meant to read the flippin' manual. Yeah? We don't read manuals. Okay, that's cool. More power to you, brother. You don't have to. I won't force you. I'm just saying I think it's a good idea. You might not. Anybody think that RTFMing is a bad idea? That's an interesting question. Who's got a hot take here? It's like, that's dumb. Dumb as hell. Justin Gold says RTFM is a good book and so is BTFM. That's exactly right. There's a Purple Team one as well, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of good books out there. Definitely get some. That should be a New Year's resolution for us all, right? Get a book and read it. In any book, I mean, I'm going to do, some sort of cybersecurity related book because that's always fun. But yeah. Let's see here. What is this reading of which you speak? I only watch YouTube videos. YouTube really changed the game when it comes to learning. But I still like having books and taking notes. A book a week would be a bit much for this guy, but God bless you, son. Look who's here. White Hat Sheepdog. After a while, it seems everything in cyber is an acronym or will become an acronym if we want it to be. Yeah. I remember when I first got into IT and yes, TLDR. Sorry, Glenn Sibley says I'm a TLDR fan. Yes. Stop looking at the chat, Daniel. When I first got into IT, I remember going, is everything an acronym? I'm never going to remember all this. Fun fact, I'm really bad at acronyms, which is why it kind of perturbed me because I can never remember. Whatever it is about that. Some of the things I do obviously remember what they mean. But that is one of the things that I struggle with as far as memorization goes. Let's see here. Wayne's Real World. Space Lost is asking you about your summer plans. Yeah, we keep talking. Oh, by the way, just to reiterate, if you're trying to get a hold of me with a question, make sure you @ my name. It shows up red in the chat, and I can really easily see it from just the chatter, if that makes sense. I will tell you who is really good at acronyms, Wes Bryan, who is in the chat right now. That dude kills the stinking acronyms. Boy has them down like I ain't never seen. Like, he has a gift, which is mostly just determination to do it, which is what he did. I seen it. I watched it. It ain't pretty, but it works. And just burying those things in your brain. Ashley Joseph says that RTFM is a bad idea because then I will know all about it and then businesses will add it to my scope. Right. This is why you don't learn Excel. If you don't know how to use Excel or Google, Sheets, then they can't have you do it. So when I first became a trainer, one of the things they like to have you do was teach Word, Excel, Office stuff, PowerPoint. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how to use those items. I'm not proficient with them. Fun fact, I'm still not. That was 20 years ago. Literally over 20 years ago now. Yeah. I can, obviously Word isn't that difficult, but I don't know all the bells and whistles and formatting, blah, 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 blah. It's just dump stuff on a page. And that way I couldn't be asked to teach it because I didn't want to teach it. I just wanted to do really techie, systems, network, security stuff. So, yeah. Bad at Excel. Like, don't know how to use it barely at all. Muhaha. Mine is an evil laugh. Oh, let's see what's going on in chat. Outlaw 11. It kills me when same letters have multiple meaning. Oh, yeah, bro. That's even worse, isn't it? Or they change it. So when I learned DHCP, it was Dynamic Host Control Protocol. And now it's Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Whether that was right or wrong, that I was taught that it was Dynamic Host Control Protocol, I don't know. But that's what I was taught what it was. And then I got that stuff wrong when I was talking to people. They were like, no, it's Configuration Protocol, which makes sense. But that's how I learned it. And yeah, that was fun. Let's see. Do I have any fun vacation plans? Not conference, but fun stuff. No, we are, this Lowry family is doing no vacations this year. My wife wants to remodel a kitchen. So I said, yeah, you better, yeah, okay. You want to do that? You better find that money and yeah, because yeah. Let's see here. Excel final boss is a pivot table. Word final boss is mail merge. I've heard those terms. I've actually seen people use them. Couldn't tell you what they do, how they do it. Don't care. Never want to, because then someone's going to go, we'll just do a pivot table and a mail. I'm like, nope, no. You can do a pivot table and a mail merge, not me. Let's see here. So the key is not really, this is White Hat Sheepdog. The key is not really learn anything. Is that the moral of the story? You got to be real selective sometimes on what it is that you let out of the bag that you know how to do. I didn't want to be a liar when I said I didn't know how to do it, so I just didn't learn it. But to each his own, That's called a working staycation. Yeah, Space Tacos. Happy remodeling. It is in the very preliminary stages. And I'm already having conversations with my wife about, so how much does that cost? Right? What are some alternatives? What's the A, B, and C on that? Because honestly, I don't really care about the way the kitchen looks. I'm a dude. I'm sorry. I'm old school guy that has a sink. I put things in sink. I wash sink stuff. I put sink stuff away in cabinet. There is a cabinet. Good. It's just, but she's really interested in what the color and the countertop is made of and the island, and let's turn our pantry into a butler pantry and and like stuff like that. So it's okay if you don't know how to use the Microsoft Suite. This is Fred on. It's okay if you know how to use the Microsoft Suite. That's what the kids are for. Right. I say, hey, children, come over here to Papa. Help me out. What's funny is when I worked on a help desk, I would get calls from time to time like, I have this weird looking P symbol. Like a P. It looked like a P. The letter. Not like there was urine on the screen. Funny. A good P joke never hurt nobody. It is funny. And they're like, I don't know how to make that go away. I don't even know what it is. I'm like, what have you done? Why? They're like, well, I was messing with the setting, was trying to do this with my, my email signature analysis and everything. I'm like, why are you messing with an email? Your email signature. It's easy. It's simple. You type in your name, you type in your title, your contact information, with text. Stop with the fancy stuff. Quit getting fancy. Why do we get, this is just me. I'm very pragmatic, right? I'm very pragmatic. Stop with the fancy stuff. It just leads to tears every time. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Wayne's World says, happy wife, happy life. There is some truth to that. And I want my wife to be. Her happiness is my happiness, which is why I didn't say no. Which is, right, yeah, why I didn't say no. That's a weird double negative, but it works. Let's see here. The other IT rule is you touch it and you own it. Yep. And trouble, and don't trouble. Colors and pictures. Yeah. Let's see here. Glenn Sibley says, tech support fixes the programs, not uses them. That's right. We do. That's kind of our job. But man, it's like when you don't have a really good idea of what the heck is going on. And that's why Googling things is how you get the job done in real life. I just think every exam should have Google. It's just a list of like customer states kind of things, right? User states, weird P symbol in email now. They were messing with signature. What do? And Google is there. And you just figure it out and you type in the answer and then, there you go. Space Tacos asked me, what is my favorite skill to teach? That's a good question. What is my favorite skill to teach? I don't know if I could ever pin down, this is my favorite thing because there's so many fun things to do in security. I like buffer overflows there because there's a lot of moving parts. It's really fun to explain those concepts on how to find it, how to build the buffer overflow. And I've done it in Python. I've done it in Go. I typically, used to just use Python, but then I started messing around with Go. Super fun because there's, like I said, a lot of moving parts. There's a lot that can go wrong, a lot of things to figure out, but you really understand a little bit more about, find the EIP, right? That's super fun. Like just getting that basic understanding of how that works and being able to do it and then seeing that shell pop for the first time, you were like, oh, I am a hacking god. And it's a lot of fun. I think that's one of those big milestones in anybody on the offensive side of things goes through. And it really makes you feel like a hacker. You know what I mean? So it's always fun, even if you've done it a million times on the same type of demonstration or whatever. I don't hunt down buffer overflows every day of my life. But they can be really interesting and fun. And like I said, you pop that shell and you're like, oh, money. I did this. You're going to feel so good. So I do like buffer overflows. They are fun. When that shell pops, you feel like you did something. What's another fun one? Web app stuff can be really fun too. Like if you're able to get something like remote code or command execution through, a piss poor sanitization of some site and you find it, or an IDOR, something simple, right? Those can be super fun and really practical to if you were out doing things like Bug Bounty. Man, we're running out of time. I might run a little long today just because it's a holiday and I got nothing else to do. I have other things to do, but nothing that is like work related. I have to go do work. I have to do X, Y, or Z. The kids are handled. I might run a little long because who's going to stop me? But those can be really interesting because then you get, or if you get do like a file upload for a web shell and you use that web shell to either gain access or just use it for your access to the website. It's a lot of fun. And that kind of brings me into a thought. What do you guys think about bug bounty? How often do you guys look at or think about doing a bug bounty stuff? I've messed around with it in the past. When I teach web app penetration testing, you've got very contrived examples because you have to show it as a demonstration. Real web applications most of the time are very complex. They have a lot of moving parts. And it like, I was going to go to like HackerOne. I'm just thinking about bug bounty things like HackerOne. Let's do it anyway. We'll jump over there. Let me close all this stuff down. If you do want to play around with some bug bounty stuff, HackerOne is a good one to go to. There's also Bug Crowd. I don't need you anymore, Hacker News. Thank you. And what you'll need to do is go over here and find that researchers thing. What am I? Why is it not working? Okay, I'm gonna do this because it's a stupid drop down. But I will show you a free resource. Hacker 101. Bada bing. Right? You got the security researchers, hack, learn, earn. Right? You can make some money playing around with this stuff. You can get some swag playing around with this stuff. You find a flaw, you report the flaw through the system, maybe earn a few bones. But like my original point was, being the fact that modern web applications can be extremely complex. Just be prepared. If you've never messed with bug bounty before, you might go, wow, this is a lot of stuff. Look at all these pages. Look at all these images. Look at all this JavaScript. Look at all this. Look at all that. Making all these different calls. Okay, this redirects to that. Oh, okay. Right? So demos are going to be much more easier looking than most actual real life applications, but that means that there's probably something in there that got overlooked because of the scope of them, how big they are. So definitely check it around. Definitely look at this like Hacktivity. I don't know if it's going to want me to log in to see all this stuff, but you can see recent bugs that have been disclosed, like Apache Airflow, sensitive information exposure in DAG run logs. Here's one from TrueColor, lack of URL validation. Oh, goodness gracious, this is tiny. And you can then here's one for Acronis, reflected cross-site scripting attack. Earned somebody $100. You click on that, come down here. Hi, Acronis team. I found XSS reflected in this area. And it tells us, okay, steps to reproduce. For XSS, go to this link. Here's the POC. Right? And they made a little video of it. Haha, that's cool. You can see it's kind of tiny, but I can't make that any bigger. We're probably going to see like a pop-up or something. A lot of times when you're testing XSS, yeah, see the little pop-up jumped up? They were able to get a reflected cross-site scripting attack, and you can see how that works. Recommendations for them, delete test page from your server. Here's the impact, right? So you fill out, and this is going to give you hands-on, real-world experience. So what do you guys think about going and playing with bug bounties? If you're looking to get real-life hands-on experience, go sign up for HackerOne. Go sign up for Bug Crowd. There's others as well. Look at sites you're interested in, see if they have a responsible disclosure or bug bounty program. Look in their help and support. And You might see that there, and it'll give you the scope. You have to work within the scope. You have to write a report. You have to submit the report and stuff like that. So let me look in the chat room and see what I got going on here. Okay, so that was Space Tacos. Ding, 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 ding. And let's see here. This is to be a graduate. Okay, Jay Williams asked, as a soon-to-be graduate, any tips to land an entry-level cyber job? It's a common question. We'll get to that. Let me just get to this real quick because, yeah, we are running a little long. Okay. NE555. We had a brand manual that specified email signatures, background fonts, etc., because employees would get too creative with sparkle fonts. Yes, they get nuts with those things. I get it, right? It's something fun. I get it. They just don't understand that it can break things and make things go crazy. Their emails look like early 2000 GeoCities pages. I'm not saying I have seen that, but yeah, that's exactly right. All right. Wayne's Real World says, I go back and forth on Bug Bounty. He says that you need to read everything within the bug bounty scope. Very important. Write it down and do not cross the lines. Also very important. Rules of engagement, ROE. Right. Yeah. There's like lots of cool stuff. Juice Shop makes me feel like Elite Hacker, even though I know Juice Shop, I think, is probably one of the best. Very complete. Web app has a lot of different types. So for practice and stuff, WebGoat is another really good one. HackerOne has stuff. I think it was in that Hacker 101, right? They go to Hacker 101. They have a whole place you can earn points, and when you by doing their challenges, and then when you do those challenges and you earn enough points, you get the ability to be invited to private bug bounties, which I've done. Very cool stuff. At least that's the way. I haven't done it in a long time, but yeah, totally check that out. Let's see here. Outlaw 11 says Jerry Ozier was saying this morning when starting bug bounty, pick one of the OWASP top 10, get really good at it, and check for that bug on bug. Absolutely, that is a phenomenal way, right? Because if you go here, let's go back into this is where we're really having some fun today. We are going to go long because yeah, let's see here, OWASP top 10, and we will see. I like how HackerOne jumped up. Sponsored. No, thank you. OWASP top 10. And in here, I accept. What I like about OWASP top 10 a lot is when you look at the top 10 web applications. So let's say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take server-side request forgery right around this area, right? I'm going to click on that. Gives you a nice rundown of what this vulnerability is, what it does, how it works, right? If you look at this, there's an overview, a description of how these works, even a little bit of how to prevent this. Developers can prevent SSRF by implementing some or all the following. Defense in depth. You want a network, from the network layer, you can segment remote resources, enforce deny by default, right? You definitely want to learn these as well, not just how to do it, but how to stop it, what causes it. From the application layer, do this. Additional measures to consider. And this is what I love. This puts meat on the bone right here. Attackers can use SSRF to attack systems protected behind web app firewalls, or network ACLs using scenarios such as 1. Port scan interval servers. If the network architecture is unsegmented, attackers can map out internal networks and determine if ports are open or closed on internal servers for connection results or elapsed time to connect or reject SSRF payload connections, right? And yes, that sounds like a lot of big words, but it is. But the more you read it, the more it'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that totally makes sense. I get it, right? Here's another one, sensitive data exposure. Attackers can access local files or internal services to gain sensitive information, such as by using a payload such as these. So we've got like this one, use file, // /etc/ /password, or you can go for a port. So HTTP localhost port 28017, right? You can use that as a payload. Here's one for attacking cloud scenarios, right? The metadata services for cloud services, they're usually at this HTTP 169.254.169.254. If I can gain access to that, I can then gain maybe like I'm AWS dude, so I'm looking to gain access to IAM information like private keys, right? That kind of stuff, secrets. We got another one, compromise internal servers. We can use this to abuse internal servers to conduct further attacks such as remote code execution or denial of services. And then it gives you references at the bottom. Go read all of these and do all that stuff, like the SSRF Bible. Very good resource, right? Portswigger has labs on this. You can play with this. Definitely mess around with this stuff. Lots of fun. Let's go back here. So let's see here. Station X has a really good class on it. Thank you, Wayne's Real World, on that. Zoomer says they're going to try bug bounty hunting this year. Good for you. Go for it. At least play around with it. Even if you don't find anything, right? You're really still getting some good hands-on. And it will be good for you. That's my opinion. I think it's good for you that you should be doing this. Any ideas for, this is Sean, sailors, for side hustle, making around $500 a month? Yeah, you can. I always recommend that people do, if you're a security person, you know the security stuff. Not everybody does. Surprise, surprise. A lot of people don't. Security awareness training is a great way for you to get some hands-on experience, to put on a resume. Like, I've been working in security by doing freelance security awareness training for companies. So you put it out there that your services are for doing security awareness training. It's a great way. You don't have to worry about like bridging a big trust gap on what you're allowed to touch or not, because you're just talking to the people. They are the first line of defense. So this is one of the most important things that you can do, is teach them about not clicking links and verifying things, and don't answer texts and things of that nature. Like, go through the whole, like, create yourself a program and find small businesses that really can't afford a big, a big name going through one of the box things. Charge a couple $100, maybe $200, and say, I'll talk to 10 people for $200 for an hour, and do that a couple of times. Like, if you did that once a week, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, there's $800 a month. You take your taxes out, now you're down to $500. So that's a great way to side hustle around that. Let's see here. Oh, good job, Space Tacos. I just saw this pop up. Also a great way, to develop your soft skills, how to talk to clients. So important. How to give information in a way that is engaging, that they understand it, right? Because if you're all throwing a bunch of technical jargon at them and not showing them, and sometimes that's necessary to give them technical jargon, but you have to explain it to them in a way that they understand it. Now, if you can, not give them technical jargon, that's even better. But there's nothing wrong with going cross-site scripting. It's a fancy way of saying blah, 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 blah. And then you explain out that your application is just YOLOing anything that people give it. So an attacker can throw it code and it executes the code. And they go, I get it. I understand what it means to execute and what code, that computers speak code. That's a much more simplified version. I don't have to get into the weeds of what a cross-site script. Well, in JavaScript, your HTML pages will blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, right? You want to be very building those soft skills. That's a great way of doing it, is through security awareness. Some of them also mentions damn vulnerable web app, DVWA, also another good one. If you're looking into web app stuff or doing bug bounty on web applications, there's, I mentioned WebGoat. There's also Bbox or BWAP. Check that one out. Another great one. Portswigger has a bunch of stuff. What else? And you know what? Bug bounty is not only web applications, by the way. There's responsible disclosure. Like I told you at the beginning, I'm messing around with this router. You can go buy one of these from Walmart or Best Buy or Amazon or whatever. Just buy an IoT device, a camera or whatever, and start poking at it. Probably has a web application for administration. Can I brute force it? Is there defaults? Is there a file upload that I can just force browse to? What can I force browse to? What other? Does it have an FTP? Does it allow for anonymous access? There's tons of possibilities in this. Pop the top off that sucker. Look to see if there's a UART port. Solder a couple of headers on. Connect up to it. Start looking at dump the firmware. These are all things you can do. And you might find yourself a flaw, and you'll get to report that. And check it out, man. That's all real world stuff. Real. And it costs you, whatever the cost of the router is. So maybe, you look for some low, and fun fact, it's usually the lower end stuff that is just like, well, it's going to be used in like home office or small business or just home. A lot of things get purposed for that were really meant for home use for, people that's running a small business outside of one of the rooms in their house, So lots of fun stuff to be done out there that you can get your hands on and get a lot of stuff. All right, let me check this. And then I'm gonna get this to a wrap up here pretty quickly. So we went a little long, but this was fun. It was all like really good information. Let's see here. Going back to Nathan House at Station X. Okay. Dan Volber web app. I heard someone in India is looking for secret shoppers. Oh, man, that is funny. Is it still a secret if someone tells me to do it? That is funny. Taekwon. Hopefully I got that right. Is Metasploitable 3 more Windows-based? So yeah, Metasploitable 3 is meant to be installed on a Windows machine. So yes, it is. If I'm remembering correctly, here's the fun fact. So you can grab Metasploitable 2 as a VM. You can just download it and throw it in your whatever virtualization software that you're using. And it's all about not so much necessarily learning those exploits. Metasploitable 2 and 3 are really meant for you to learn how to use Metasploits and give you a target that it works against really easily. So it's kind of like fire and free. Like you spin one of those VMs up, or you build a Windows VM, and then you do all the, because there's like some walkthrough on getting Metasploitable 3 up and cranked. But it's going to be very exploitable, but specifically by Metasploit. So those are great for that, but you can use any of these other things as well, a lot of stuff. But these will have definite Metasploitable or Metasploit exploitable modules in them. They have those specific vulnerabilities so that you can learn how to do Metasploit. You guys asked me a question about stuff I want to do this year. Some of the stuff is I'm going to release like some micro courses for free on my YouTube site for like how to run Nmap, how to run Metasploits, and try to give you, anybody that knows my training knows how I do, right? Really going to give you the meat on the bone. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do demo heavy. And so stuff like that I want to do this year just as here you go, enjoy. This isn't information that's super difficult to find, but if you enjoy my style, then here you go and enjoy it. That's my kind of give back to the community. That's what I want to do. Let's see here. I've never taught a class before. Okay, you can always. I'm looking through all this chat. Not sure why you're asking task for. Okay, how does he know all of this? I don't know what that means. But everyone should be a hacker. Why not, right? It's fun to be a hacker. Well, one of those smart air fryers. Absolutely. Oh, that's a great idea, right? If you've got a smart tool, smart device in your house, and you're willing to take it apart, or if it has an interface, hack the app, hack the thing, play around with it, run it through Burp Suite and see who's it talking to. Do like a tap on your Wi-Fi or whatever. On your network system, look at the traffic. Who's it talking to? Run Wireshark. Analyze. Enjoy. You never know what's going on with those things. That could be interesting information. All right, here we go. Wayne's Real World Task Force 141 asks, how do you know all this? I don't know. I've been doing it for 10 years. Space Tacos, I wonder when I'm going to write a book. Okay, so it's not the first time someone's asked me to write a book. What would you want me to write the book about that hasn't been covered, or do you just want to hear it from me? That's where I struggle with it. Honestly, I'm not pissed off at you or nothing. I just don't know what I would write about, honestly. So yeah, I'm not technically averse to writing a book. I just don't know what I would make it about. Nick Dowd, dude, asked, do I have a video on SNMP monitoring? I do not. But there are plenty of them out there, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't want to just be, fun fact, there are people on the internet that are kind of a-holes. And they're like, you're just saying the same thing that I could have said on this and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, do I really want to put myself out there to have that kind of scrutiny, or not scrutiny, but criticism? And a lot of times it's just not worth it. If I don't want to just repeat what everyone is saying. or if I have my own take on something, then yeah, I don't mind diving into those topics and saying, here's my thoughts on that. And maybe that's a better way of saying it. Again, it's interesting. Casually Joseph, only 10 years? Does that mean I can be Daniel Lowry when I grow up? It's never too late, kids. It's never too late. Prime example. He's never going to slow down. Nope, never going to slow down. Wayne says, or be yourself. Yeah, Casually Joseph's got good stuff, man. He's a smart guy. Everybody be like Joseph. Smart dude. I like Space Talk. I do like your title, Space Tacos. Silliness, shenanigans, and hacking stuff. Right? That could be fun. Make it. So now we're kind of getting to it, right? That makes me think. I will give you. You guys are ready for? I'm gonna throw you a good set of books. Anything from SparkFlow. That guy does amazing work. Titles are a little questionable when it comes. He's like, hack like a god, hack like a. I'll say it. Hack like a porn star. Hack like hack like a ghost. So he's got a whole series of this hack like a blah blah blah. They are phenomenal books because what he does is he tells stories about things that he hacked, and within that is the information on how to hack those things. It's narrative driven, very good stuff. Totally recommend those books. Those are great books. All right, kids. Well, it is 11:16. I can hear my kids jumping outside, so I'm going to go be a dad for a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, you know what to do. Like and subscribe and all that other fun stuff. Engage with me in the comments. The conversation does technically not have to end. Yeah, I did. I didn't name the book. I just want you to know what it is. Great books. So there you go. You know what to do. Engagement in the channel will help it grow, and we'll get more people in the chat room. We can have more fun and have greater conversations. And that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, keep hacking.